This is Amelie Yan-Gouiffes, and this is my ExpRes experience. I started United Nations in 2008 in India. I was recruited by UNDP office. There were massive floods in the north of India. And that was my really first mission with the United Nations. I had worked with Red Cross, with international NGOs, with the European Union, ECHO. And you know what I loved about it is that was a new way of making a difference, of making an impact. It was working with government, and it was working with the government at district level. There were so many issues to look at beyond the emergency response, like the gender, diversity, caste issues, poverty, linkages with what we call nexus today, but at that time we didn't have that word. But how do we link with development? At that stage, we were speaking a lot about early recovery, but it was also a new concept. When I had this first experience with UNDP India, after, like I mentioned, I was blessed to have the opportunity to work with different hats in the field of emergency response, recovery, resilience, and disaster risk reduction. And I got really excited by this new hat, by the mandate of the United Nations of really working with government and with the other partners, but having this direct link with government, because I discovered another way to impact, to influence, and to build a capacity. When I knew about the roster, I said, I have to be there because I want to continue being there and having these missions. Yeah, definitely. And at that time, I had done a shift also in my professional career. So I was interested in having like short-term missions. So for me, it was the opportunity to still have this excitement and support in a short term. And after I joined the roster, and with the roster, I had a mission to Cameroon to develop a joint proposal with an international NGO on disaster risk reduction. I went to Comoros Islands after the Hurricane Kenneth. So it was to develop the recovery strategy with government, to lead and organize a massive lessons learned exercise. I will tell a little more about that because that's where we did an amazing job there, and give also recommendation for preparing the next one. So in terms of risk reduction, then a mission to Djibouti. Also after massive floods. So here it was working on the recovery strategy with the partners and the government, and recommendations and strategies for UNDP to continue the work. I remember with a lot of passion and excitement my mission in Comoros Island. I initially went for 2 months, and well, it was 1 month, then 2 months, then 3 months, and what did we do there? It's what I loved about the way we worked there. It was very much working with. Okay, so I arrived there, and it was literally working with the government, the committee, and the people assigned to develop the recovery strategy and to lead on the recovery after the hurricane, and the World Bank. And it's been amazing. It reminded me a lot my first years in the humanitarian field. You're in the emergency, you're working day and night. And you have this last moment, the recovery, and you gather all the stakeholders and you discuss with everyone, you put that together. It's a lot of work and getting it done and readjusting and making the calculations of all these millions of dollars that are needed in all the sectors. And here you're making an impact, not only on the content of the recovery strategy, but the way we work together. because you show that it's possible. People who didn't know each other 1 week before, and that's important. Second example I want to give of the experience of Comoros, of course, and this is possible because of course of the way you get into your job as a roster consultant, and that we will speak a little more about that later, but also the leadership of the UN country team, of the UNDP, etc. No, so when you have the leaders there who tell you, okay, let's go, I trust your expertise, inform me, get me involved, and you're able to create that. That's amazing synergy. And the second thing we did, and it was the first time on the islands, we after this emergency phase, we did a massive lessons learned exercise on the 3 islands. At the end, there were more than 300 voices that had been heard from government, from partners, from private sector, chambers of commerce and entrepreneurs, and everything, from the different humanitarian stakeholders and recovery partners, all the UN family. And this has been truly a joint work. What you bring when you're in the roster, you bring an expertise, you bring a way of you know what is the job about, you know what is the organization about, no? So you just need to go there in the context where you are, bring this expertise, and make sure that when you get out, the country has progressed in terms of what you do. Yeah, so that's the kind of impact we have in the roster. The lack of information, and or even on the information on the emergency, what has happened and what is exactly there for you, etc. So that's a challenge, but that's a challenge. I mean, it's part of working in emergency or in recovery, and that's part to that's also the excitement of being a roster consultant, because that's, I would say, 99% of the situation is that there's no information. So let us be curious and let us be prepared. You are going to be at the service of a country and a country office. It's not about you, it's about them. What is about you is bringing all what you know and all who you are and all what you are. They want to have you, that's why you're going there. And the best gift that you can give them is forgetting, and of course we all need recognition, validation, and this, but that's not the objective. So really focus on that and being at the service. And how do you serve? You serve being hands-on, you do the job, but while you do the job, you ensuring the ownership of this job by building the capacity and by working with people. And that's not you who gets the credit. You don't want, I mean, your intention is not to get the credit. Your intention is that the people get the credit because they've worked with you. So you're just an instrument, you're an instrument because you have the expertise, you have the experience, you have the mandate of that. So your biggest achievement is being able to create that. And at the end, you know what? They will acknowledge you, they will credit you because there will be touch of, and that's a way to show also how much you respect people. So that's the first part. And part of it also, the second part of this, of being at the service is remember, you are an expert on something, but they know the context like you don't know. I mentioned before, I mean, you have very little information when you arrive. So here you arrive and you listen and you look and you ask questions. You make people feel that they're valuable and that your expertise, you bring this, they bring all that, so you're just adding on to that. And that's very important. I would say the first thing, and I guess you can hear it, is the fulfillment. it's it's the beauty of being a consultant on the roster is that you dare to your mission is to serve the country, no, and the country office where you're going. So it's just about going there to give all what and who you are. No, you're just there to serve them and to give what you have to give. So you feel very fulfilled. The second thing is that you go to countries where you're not even sure where they're located on the map. No, you have to cross-check. And there's the variety of missions, the variety of countries, the variety of contexts. It's so exciting. And that's rich. That nourishes your soul and your curriculum. It's really beautiful. Each time I'm like that, should I apply or not? Are you prepared? Yes. Should, and after you aim. Okay, so you hesitating to the roster, is it for me, is not for me, is not that, you will see. Are you prepared? You have the experience that is required. You have this willingness to go and give what you know to countries that are in crisis. Should send your CV, apply to the roster. It's a good exercise also to answer the questions, to go through this process. Because if it's not the right thing for you, it will prepare you for something that is the right thing for you. And then you will aim. That's when they will call you for mission, you say, oh no, that's not for me. Oh yes, that's for me. Okay? So don't question too much. Just go for it.